Any additional evidence and aggravation from the state?
No more additional evidence from the state, Your Honor.
Argument?
Your Honor, the state is seeking life without the possibility of parole for the McMichaels based primarily on the evidence presented in this case. The state is not going to go through all of that evidence, just a few very important items. First off, there was a demonstrated pattern of vigilantism by Greg and Travis McMichael. First off, we have our July 13th, 2019 911 call after both of them went with guns to confront a homeless man who was living under the bridge, who they suspected must have been committing all of these crimes. Of course, all of these crimes included a lot of reports to 911 about suspicious persons, and as we heard from the witness stand and defense witnesses, a couple of unlocked cars with things stolen out of them by people outside the neighborhood. And then we have February 11th, 2020. Yes, Ahmaud went inside of the open, unsecured construction site that particular day. But Travis McMichael went home, got his father, they both got their guns, and then they went back down to that construction site. We know that because we heard the 911 call. And he says, I'm sitting outside the construction site. He talks about seeing somebody inside with a flashlight. The horrible part is we know from Brooke Perez, who testified for the defendants, that her husband had gotten a call from Larry English, and he'd gone over there with his handgun. We also know that the two men went inside with their handguns. It's a miracle they didn't shoot each other. And no one had called the police. Travis is outside in the pickup truck, finally calling the police. He stays on for about 4 minutes, and then Officer Ash appears. That didn't teach anybody here a lesson at all. Brooke Perez was trying to tell them, no, my husband's over there with a gun. Be careful, go in there. But Greg McMichael took off, according to Travis's statement, down the street and went right into that house. So we've got July 2019, February 11th, 2020. Not calling 911 first, not staying home, but wanting to seek out, in a vigilante manner, a confrontation with people that they suspect might be doing something that they themselves, up until January 1st of 2020, had not been the victim of. In all cases, they took firearms with them, did not stay home, did not allow the police to do their job, but instead, as on February 11th, Gregory McMichael went in and started searching the house himself. We all know how that could have turned out terribly for him, for anyone in there, and for Diego Perez. All the decisions they made that led up to the death of Ahmaud Arbery. There were so many opportunities to stop, to think. And here's the real problem. Greg McMichael was former law enforcement, as they pointed out repeatedly. And Travis McMichael had served in the Marines. I'm not the Marines, the Coast Guard, as they pointed out repeatedly. So here we have some men who should have known better. Should have known better. Vigilantism always goes wrong. You wait for the professionals to show up. The professionals who are in marked cars, the professionals who are in uniforms, the professionals who are going to do it right because they have something to lose, the professionals with body cams, the professionals such as Officer Rash, who just would have stopped Mr. Arbery and said, hey, I'm going to put you on the phone with Larry English so Larry English can tell you to please not to come back. And they should have known that. They had alternatives. They had choices. But instead, Travis McMichael who stated he was putting his son Everett down for a nap, who stated that his father had all these medical and health problems, didn't say, "No, Dad, I'm putting Everett down. No, Dad, you need to stay here." He grabbed his shotgun, which he stated was propped up in a corner in that house, to go with his father. And Greg McMichael was willing to get into that pickup truck and sit in a child's seat to go chase after Mr. Arbery. Greg McMichael attempted to control the narrative from the get-go at the scene. His statements were all about how they were justified, how it was self-defense, how Mr. Arbery attacked his son. When the unknown man came up to Greg McMichael at the scene, because of course the police hadn't put Mr. McMichael anywhere, told him not to talk to anybody, he was running around the scene talking to everybody. And when talking to this unknown man who walked up to give him water, he basically said, "No, this guy's an asshole. He is 20 feet from Mr. Arbery's body," referring to Mr. Arbery as an asshole. There's been no remorse shown, and certainly no empathy from either man. Because empathy would have said, "Hey, how must this look to this person that we're chasing? Are we terrifying this person? Are we scaring them?" No empathy for the trapped and terrified Ahmaud Arbery. There was thoughtlessness as to the consequences, thoughtlessness as to the alternatives, there was vigilantism. And because of that, we are asking for Travis McMichael and Greg McMichael to be sentenced to life with the possibility of parole. Travis McMichael on count 1, malice murder, Greg McMichael on felony murder count 2, with the prior sentences or the underlying charges to run concurrent consecutive per the state's prior statement. The state is going to guess that the defense will probably say that these men served their country, they served the community. Travis in the Coast Guard, Greg McMichael at the district attorney's office. But we all know it is not the 99 things you do right, not the 99 good deeds that you do. But when you take another person's life, it can't be undone. It can't be taken back. There is no do-over. It's final. And that means caution must prevail. Thoughtfulness, empathy, and insight must prevail, not vigilantism. With regard to Mr. Bryan, his actions speak for themselves. He contributed to the death of Ahmaud Arbery in a significant way. The court is familiar with his actions. The court is familiar with his statements, with his level of cooperation with Agent Seacrest afterwards. And given his actions and statements in this case, the state is asking for a life with the possibility of parole sentence. And that would be on count 3 with 15 years consecutive on probation for Mr. Bryan. Thank you, Your Honor.